Problem.
All right. Welcome everybody. I think it is recording now. Okay, great. So you're all welcome to this class. We are going to start with an introduction to, everybody talking about how last week went for each person. So we will start with Samuel. All right, Samuel, you can start now. Let us know how your weekend went, how last weekend generally went.
Okay. Well, not too strong. Because as someone that has always been so many side work to do. So I even didn't know that there was a class going on there was going to be a class or something like that. Because I had a very tight schedule to be able to do. So it was nice. It was nice. What more can I say?
As it concerns software development, what did you do during the weekend?
Yeah, flexible.
Hold on, your mic. I don't know. There's a background noise.
From my own end.
Oh, yeah, from your end. I guess it's only your mic and my mic that are on. Okay, go on. I think it has reduced a bit. Go on, please.
So I was able to work. I was able to work on flex. Yeah, precisely flex. But I feel grid is a little bit more of a more. I don't really know how to be. I can't really see how good I am with grid because I'm still learning how to work more with grid. But flex, I was able to work with flex to some extent. I was able to work with how to flex all my. For example, I have 6 boxes along the viewport. So I should be able to flex it. I'll be able to flex it to be on an horizontal way, and how to increase. I don't know how to say, but possibly if I could write it out, I don't know.
Okay.
But I actually work with flex. Grade is what I actually work with.
All right. That's fine. All right. So, who is the next person? Bethel Emmanuel. Tell us how. Oh. Samuel, mute your mic, please.
Okay.
All right, Emmanuel, please go on.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My weekend was packed with activity. On Friday, I actually traveled to a program which I usually run on over the weekend. So I came back yesterday evening. I couldn't do much actually. I couldn't do much. But I was able to continue my studies yesterday morning. And then with regards to the flex box and the grid, that I'll have to work on this night after the class. The weekend, I start with my other activities as well, actually, activeness and what we are doing. But I think before now, between now and the next class, I will be able to start.
Can you speak up? Can you speak up?
Oh, okay. But I said, my weekend was packed with activities. I had to travel for a program.
To Australia. Hello?
But I want to go that's what hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you said you traveled to Australia.
No. Zaria, actually.
Okay, it's fine, all the same. Okay, so
between now and the next class, I'll read up on most books and the
all right. Okay, next person. Kevin. You're up.
Hello?
Yes, your sound is very good today. I think you worked on your internet.
Hello.
Oh,
Good evening.
go on. Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Go on. Go on. Hello. We can hear you. Hello. Wow. Okay, next person. Let's move on to the next person. Okay, so let's move on to Ike. Ike, let us hear how your weekend went. Hello, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Was my internet suddenly gone crazy?
Hello.
Yes, can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Was there a point when you lost me? Like you weren't hearing me?
No.
Yes,
No.
in my own idea.
No, in my end, I've been hearing you this one.
Okay, all right. So, Kevin, if you can hear me, let us know how your weekend went. Let us know how your weekend went.
Yes. Hello. Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah. My weekend also was a bit tight. I was trying to work on the report of the supervisor. I'm finalizing my final year here at school, and I had to work on the deadline. The deadline was before Monday, so the whole weekend I was working on the report. He wanted the report. The supervisor wanted the report.
Okay.
So as a programmer, seriously, like I didn't code.
Oh.
So I'm really sorry about that, but I'm working on it right now. I think I'm done with the issue with the report.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm catching up now. Starting today, I'm catching up whatever I missed.
Okay. All right. So who else hasn't said anything? Ike. All right. On to you now. To you now, Ike. Let us know how your weekend went. Ike. Can you hear me, Ike?
Yo, good evening.
Yes. Let us know how your weekend went, please.
Good evening.
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my weekend was splendid. Thank God.
Yes.
Okay.
In terms of code, how did it go? In terms of software development.
In terms of
programming, how did it go? In terms of software work.
okay, I didn't. It was okay though. I didn't really do much over the weekend. We had some. There was a lot of distractions there, so I could not do much.
Okay. All right. Jeremiah, you're welcome. Kindly tell us how your weekend went, generally, and as it concerns programming. Hello, Jeremiah.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
I did a lot this weekend, but in terms of programming, I practiced a little for what we were taught last. So
Okay.
I think with time I'll get much better.
Okay. All right. Who hasn't said something? Chukudi, have you said something?
No.
All right. So let us know how your weekend went, generally, and as it concerns programming.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. You guys can unmute your mic. If you don't have a background noise, you can unmute your mic. But if you have a background noise, you can you should mute your mic so you can respond to people's greetings and but be quiet when somebody else is speaking. Thank you. All right, Chukudi.
Okay, my weekend was fine. It was a bit tight, but in terms of food, can remember from the last class, I worked on grid. I remember from the last class that demo assignment. Wonderful was saying I didn't actually make use of the grid.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Chukudi. Hello, Chukudi. Can you guys hear Chukudi?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I worked on grid. That was basically what I did this weekend. And I came up with another demo for that assignment.
Okay, that's
which
great.
probably we'll be reviewing today.
All right, that's great. All right, like we have a full house today. I'm glad, I'm excited about it. Okay, so thank you, Chukudi. Olufolahon, you're welcome. Let us know how your weekend went, generally, and as it concerns software development.
My weekend was fine, and I've missed 2 class due to internet issue, so I have to revisit the video to catch up.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
You have access to the videos now. They are on the channel.
On YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we post it on the channel and you can.
So I have to go through it and do my assignment as well.
Okay. All right. That's great.
All right.
Francis, you're welcome. You have also not been very active. Let us know how your weekend went, generally and as concerns programming. Francis. Hello, Francis. Wow, use the chat. If you can hear me, use the chat. We can't hear you. I think your network is bad. So for every other person, you're welcome to today's class. And today's class will be quite interesting. It's going to be
Thank you very much.
A continuation of what we did last week. Last week we looked into grids and flex boxes, and you were given assignments, and we expected that you practiced. Your practicals were supposed to be demoed on Saturday, but only a few people showed up. So let it not be like that this week. We expect everybody to give in their best, right? So I would like to say that you guys are trying, but you need to probably put more effort, especially as it concerns your internet. If you don't have good internet, you really need to work on it. I'm not sure Francis has actually said a thing on this since we started, basically because of his internet. So Francis, you really need to look at your internet again and ensure that you have something more stable so that you can hear what we are saying and also be able to respond if I am missing something, or like if the network is good and you can hear me clearly, maybe you might want to use the chat and let me know what the issue is. If it's your mic, I do not know. But Francis, you really need to work on the issue you're having so that you can communicate with us. Okay. That said, welcome once again. So we left a feedback.
Thank you.
A feedback form. How many of us have filled the feedback form? How many of us?
I've done that.
I've done that.
Oh, okay.
I've done that.
All right.
I've done that.
All right, that's good. We'll be reviewing your feedback, say tomorrow, and hopefully work on whatsoever challenges that might arise from your feedback, so that everything continues very, very smoothly. All right, so that's it. Does anybody have a question as it concerns grids and flex boxes? For those of you who did one or two things last week, who have who participated in last week's class and who are currently in working on grids and flex boxes. Okay, so Samuel, your hands is raised. So
Yeah, I worked on Flexbox and I saw some similarities between Flexbox and inline block.
okay.
Inline block, like, yes, I think so. So I just want to show what these two. I think there's a similarity between the two of them here. But I just want to know the two differences between the inline block and flex, please. If you could help us out with that.
Okay. All right. So I will. Let me quickly talk about it before I move on to the next person. So when I'm done, Kevin, you would be next. So basically,
Okay.
a flex box is or an inline box is not the same as a flex box, right? Inline block rather. So basically, in HTML5, you have block elements and inline elements, and in the middle of block elements and inline elements, you have inline block. So maybe what I need to do for you to understand what an inline block is for you to first of all understand what a block element is and what an inline element is. So basically, a block element in HTML are elements that occupy the full width of the appearance by default. Now you have been doing HTML, you've done HTML for a while, and you must have used maybe div, or a H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, or maybe a paragraph. And you notice that once you use, let's say, a div, and then you add who's Samuel, your mic is making noise.
Oh, sorry, please. Sorry.
So once you create like a div and you insert content in it, let's say, for example, I would try and show a little code so that you can see it. Give me a while. Let me head to CodePen.
Okay.
Yes, and I'll share my screen so I can explain it a bit. Okay. So okay. Can you see my CodePen? Can you also see my CodePen?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Great. So it's still loading. It's like my network is in a little bad now. Okay, so while it is loading,
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
yeah, while it
Yes.
is loading, yeah, it's fine. I know you've seen it. While it is loading, let me continue. So a block element is an element that occupies the full width of its parent. I'm going to demonstrate it here. But then an inline element takes the width of its content. Okay, let me just okay, it's still loading. Now, if you understand, let me say it again. A block element takes the full width of its parent. Now, for example, here, if we do, let's say, a div, right? I told you that a div is a block element. Now I mentioned it, right? Did I mention that a div is a block element? Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can everybody? Oh my goodness! Can you hear me at all, guys? Oh, my network is bad. Hello. Wow. Hello. Wow. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I'm hearing you now.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Oh my goodness! I think.
We can hear you.
Please repeat what
Yeah.
you're
I
trying to tell us.
I figured out that my network must have messed up a bit. Okay, so I'll just proceed. So I was saying that you can still see my code pen. That I mentioned that a div element is a block element, and this is why. For example, if I place an element and say, let's say, hello world here, hello world. Can you see that? And I create another
Yes.
div element and say, oh, I thought I was on VS Code. And I do something like this and say, hello class, right? You will notice that hello world is on the first line, and hello class is on the what? On the next line. Can you still hear me, guys?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Yes, we
Now,
I'm
can.
hearing you now.
okay, so great. Now, what happened here? What happened here is, even though hello world, as you can see here, can still occupy other things like, let's say, hello world, we are now in class or something, right? Even though it hasn't, or the content of this div, the first div, hasn't fully occupied the screen, right? You can see that it still has it's still here. I could still add more content, right? And this is not, it has wrapped itself to the next line now. But then there is still some space here to add content. Even with this space here, you can see that the next div, right, had to still go under. Now, what is happening here is that this first div occupies the full width of the screen. In this case, this is the screen. This white part is the screen. This black part is just the editor, right? So even though on this screen, we still have a lot of spaces to the right of hello world, we are now in class, it didn't just matter. The next element or the next div had to go down. And this is because div elements are block elements. They occupy the full width of what? Of their parent, or of their parents. In this case, the parent, I didn't put all the, this is not like the correct syntax for HTML in terms of it doesn't have a doc type and the body and all that. We are assuming that this is the body, right? So I just want to show all this. So, but basically this whole code would have been written inside your body. Now your body is assumed, or the body is assumed in this case, to be like the parent. Do you understand what I mean? Do you understand what I mean?
Hey.
Hello?
Yep.
No,
Yes.
there's a break of your network.
There was a break with my network.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what's
Straight
happening
into-
here. I can see my network is really down. I just have two bars, and I think it's because it is raining. If for any reason you can't hear me, use the chat so that I can be alerted immediately. Is that fine? Okay.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
will just come here and put the body here so that you really understand what I'm talking about. So basically, this would have been embedded in the body generally. But then because this is I'm just trying to show you a particular thing. I'm not writing full HTML code here. That's why it is like this. I'll just move these guys to the right just to keep it clean. Right? So what I was saying is that this first div is a child of body. This second div is also a child of body. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, both divs, this first div and this second div rather, are siblings, right? They are brother and sister. they are siblings. They are both children of what? Of body.
But
Now, yes, I was trying to explain that a div takes the full width of its what? Parent. In this case, body is the parent of this div. Body is also the parent of this other what? Div. Now, even though we still have lots of spaces, like I was trying to say before, like you can see here on the screen, because we are making use of a block element, if we try to style this, we haven't really done styling. We have done styling now. You know how to style inline elements, right? Yeah, we've done a bit of styling. So
yes.
if I do background color here, and I say yellow, right? You see that yellow occupy the full screen of what? Occupy the full screen. You know, you also notice that okay, let's do that for, let's copy this and put it in hello class as well, and we'll make it red. Right? Red.
Yeah.
So you see that a block element occupies the full screen, the full width of the what? Of the screen. Even if you reduce this screen, it's still, or you enlarge the screen, it will still keep going to the right until it occupies the screen. Whatever, any other thing you add after a particular div, because this div is is a block element, that thing will what? Go under. For example, let's quickly talk about a span. A span is an inline element, right? A span is an inline element. Remember, I talked about a div being what? A block element. But now I am saying that a span is what? An inline element. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
So let me just show you. We're going to use blue here, right? So we have a block element, we have another block element, and then we have what? An inline element. Now look at this inline element. You see, notice that the background color only occupied what? Between here and here. And what is happening is that, so what I would define an inline element based on what is happening here. An inline element takes the width, right? The width of its content, not the width of its, not the full width of its parent, but it takes the width of its what? Content. So if I keep it, yes, in this case, hello span, right? Maybe I'll use another color because this is, you can see hello span now, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if I keep adding hello span, hello AXP, hello everybody, you would notice that what? The inline element keeps growing. You notice that the blue keeps expanding from where it was before to where it is now. You can see that the inline element takes the width of its what? Content, right? If I add another inline element here, for example, if I add another inline element here, you would notice that it would join. You see, let me change the color to orange or something. You see what is happening here? It continues from where the last element was, from where the last element, which is this element, stopped, right? It continued, right? Because it's an inline element. It goes in a single line. It floats to the left. It takes the, so I don't know if I've been able to explain it very well, but this little demo here shows you how a block element and an inline element behaves, right? So a block element will usually take the full width, but then the inline element will take just the width of the content, and they follow themselves. They don't, of course, because this div element occupies the full width, right? It only means that any other thing that is coming will have to go under because it occupies the full width. But for this one, because it doesn't occupy the full width of the screen, it only occupies the width of the, it takes the width of the content. It means that any other element that doesn't occupy the full width, right, will follow it, you know, will just follow it. That's probably the word. So if I put like a div here now, what do you think is going to happen? If I put like a div after the span, who can tell me what's going to happen?
The block element.
You go enter the next line.
Start the next line.
You start from the next line, right?
Yes.
Yes, I thought somebody was. Who is that correct? Does anybody have a different answer?
I said that it can be if we start another div can be of if we change to block, if we want to make it as block element.
It's a block element. A div is a block element. So what's going to happen if I put
this block element?
What is going to happen? What I'm trying to say, is it going to come to the next line, or is it going to follow this span?
It's going to come to the next line.
The next line.
Next line, right? Great.
Yes.
So
it's going to be full.
Next line, and that is because it occupies the full width. It doesn't. You can see it doesn't share the width of its screen. It's like a god. It wants to take the full width of its screen, right? So you can see that it has come now. If you now talk about putting that into perspective as it concerns an inline block element, right? So basically, when you use inline block for an element, oh my goodness, hold on. Oh my goodness. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. I have a little challenge right now. But then let's continue. So I guess we stopped from is my screen still shared? Let me share my screen.
Yes, your screen is not here.
Okay.
No.
Okay, hold on. So, all right. So I was saying that for an inline block element, when you use inline block elements, it's remember that inline block or block, we do not have anything like an inline block element. It's either it's a block element or what an inline element. But there is a CSS property called inline block, and what that inline block does is what basically converts a block element to an inline element. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay. I was saying that an inline element, there is nothing like an inline block element. We have what? Either an inline element or a block element. Can you hear me still? What? Somebody said
Yes, yeah.
Okay, great. But then there's a CSS property called what? Inline block that converts a block element to what? An inline element. When I say convert, it makes it behave like an inline element. For example, if I one property or behavior of an inline element is that they follow themselves, right? They follow themselves. So I would have liked to demonstrate here, but I guess when Wonderful comes on board, he might be able to explain it better to you. But then, because inline elements follow themselves, right? When you apply inline block to a block element, you find that it tends to follow. You know, if you have more than one block element that has been styled as inline, they will get to follow themselves, just like this span here is following this span. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is what inline block property of CSS does to a block element. But on the other hand, when you talk about hello.
I have a little question.
Yeah.
Why is called inline block? Because from what you said, you have the block element, you have the inline element. Now the inline
Can you
block,
speak up? I
why
can't hear.
can't we just use? I said, why is it called inline block?
Okay.
Why can't we just use the inline if you want to make the whole difference to be at the same this level, or
Yeah.
either the block to make it start on a different.
Yeah, that is because a block, most times when you see inline elements like span, you really, like a span is basically or majorly used for text, right? You can't see something like an image inside a span. If you want to put an image in a container or into an element, you most likely put it in what? In a div. So a div is like a proper container, like a boxed container. You know, when something has a boundary, if I add an image to a div, right? The image might take the width of what, of my div, right? But if I try to do that with a span, I mean, the span is not a block element. It is not an element that can really hold another element. There are times when you might see like a span. There's so many. Maybe you guys will have to check it out. The different inline and block elements. But for example, a span, as you can see now. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, you can get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, when you have there's so many scenarios where you would want to use a block element as an inline element. For example, if you check like in a shop, right, in an e-commerce site, let's say Konga or Jumia, you see all those boxes where you have the image and then the description of the item. Most of those boxes are block elements, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they are block elements, and it's most likely a div, right? But then what they did was they had to reduce the size because by default it is like 100%. It takes the full width. But even when you reduce the size, the width, if I reduce the width of this, let's just do it. If I reduce the width of this first one, if I say width, my battery is down right now, I have to go charge it. If I say 50, let's say 30%, right? You would see that it reduced, right? If I give this one, yes. If I give this one 30% also, width of 30%, you would also notice that it's reduced, right? But even with the reduction, they are still on separate lines. You know, you would have thought that because that you would have thought that the reason this one, the red background didn't follow the yellow background in the first place was because maybe the yellow background occupied the full width, right? But you can see that even though the yellow background occupies just the 30% of the screen, and this one occupies 30% of the screen, 30 plus 30% is what? Is 60%, right? It means that they could have followed themselves. But then, because it's a block element, it doesn't apply. But you can imagine if you now convert this one to an inline element, an inline block, and this one to an inline block, you will see that they will get to follow themselves. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to do something. You will give me 1 minute to switch my device so that I can continue. My current device is down, right? So give me 1 minute. What it means is that I might not be able to do a demo right now with you, but then we can continue our conversation until Hello, who is speaking? Who's talking?
Smog for now.
Smog, okay, go on. Go on, please.
It's offline.
Smog. Okay, he's offline now.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me 1 minute. I'm trying to log onto another device. All my devices are down. Oh God. All right. Hello guys. Let's continue our discussion. Let's continue our discussion on on the Slack channel. My devices are currently down. Our power has a little challenge right now, and I didn't expect this, but that's the situation of things right now. I will pause the recording so we can pick it up from here when we continue later tonight. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, please. Thank you.
That's
Okay.
It's okay.
All right.